Well, no, acting is a difficult thing to talk about. I find it almost impossible, because it's a very personal thing. But I find, if I can generalize on your question, which is something I hate to do, but I don't like generalizations, but one is the author's advocate. At the same time, one has to comment on what he says or does, and on the character. This is like the man standing behind the man. This has to be mined, as it were, from one's own personality, from what one is. There's a magnifying glass, much more so, I think, strangely enough, on the stage than in front of a camera. And it's impossible, you can't lie. You can't tell any lies, you're totally exposed. And one has to mine from one's own character and one's own personality, not to embellish, but to enlighten. I think it's largely intuition and largely about 4 years in repertory. One learns how to make contact, which is the most terrifying thing. I work in odd ways. Certain things, the texture, I'm wearing green corduroy in this, and certain things, they're not essential as exteriors, but they provide me with a whole picture.
I hope you read the play. It's very nice for an American to read the play. Very nice, thank you. Now, I can't help but react, so you'll have to go along with me. But you see, and I read the play, do you see that the topography makes you act? Answer me. Now, I'm not kidding about it. I'm a talented woman, but I do understand that it's my job. And I want you to understand that everything that is the way in which the street goes, you have to use. Now, I'm not here to teach you this, but all acting is imaginative, and in the imagination, since it's easier and it's more interesting. Do you understand me? Yes. Use your imagination, and you will also be able to create it instead of leaving that and going to yourself. How many people understand me? Yes. I want to say that I have the moment in my life where I can criticize somebody where I think the criticism is valid. I want you to know that it is more interesting for the actor to use his imagination than it is for him to use his experience.
You really have to train a lot. It was a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. Yeah. It's exciting to be able to do it now. I think for me, it's really like, kind of empowering. It makes me feel strong and good. And I love that it had that kind of also very vulnerable side, as tough as she was and kind of closed off as she is. When you guys see the movie, there is this soft center. It was regular like fight training, but it was choreographed. It was, we have to be efficient. Choreographed, almost like a dance, which is good for me since I'm a dancer. So I can like kind of do the step by step, and then I just learn it from there.
Let's examine what we did. Because it's more interesting.
Yeah.
What made it more interesting?
Having a specific intention, the teasing, an attitude made it more
a way of doing it.
A way of doing it, yes.
Right.
Right.
It's not merely nice to be interesting. It's a theatrical necessity.
Yeah.
Another thing is, what you do doesn't depend upon you. It depends on what the other fella does.
Rationalize, justify it, if you will, what I was doing by speaking through my work. So I always looked for that, for lack of a better word, angle. Dreams without goals are just dreams.
Come on.
And ultimately, they fuel disappointment.
Exactly.
On the road to achieving your dreams, you must apply This all comes from Pastor Bernard. I just stole it.
It sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar. You must apply discipline, but more importantly, consistency. Because without commitment, you'll never start. But without consistency, you'll never finish. These are all things I learned from you. So the position I have, the money I have, the stardom I have, the joy that or pain or whatever I've given to people through the films that I've done don't make me any better. Leave room to learn.
That's the most important thing that I think.
To love the business.
You have to. I never set up a fallback situation because I didn't want to fall back. I wanted to have to keep eating at it. If there's one thing that I've done that I'm like the proudest of everything, all right, is the fact that people talk about, wow, you've had such success and it's just been so overnight and whatever. Well, whatever success I've got has come after like 8 years of just nothing working out. What happened basically was I had tried to make a film, it's at around 22, 23. I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna make a film, 16 millimeter feature, black and white, and it'll be cool. So I ended up working for like 3 years on this movie, and this was gonna be my feature. And I was like, I was financing it from working at a video store. I couldn't even process this footage, all right, that I was in. That's way too expensive, all right? So eventually, I ended up, after like about 3 years, I ended up like starting processing some of the footage and starting seeing exactly what I had. And guess what? What? I did not have at all what I thought I had. It was amateurish. There were good things about it, all right? I mean, you could tell I made it. But the thing is, though, it was like this was gonna be the thing that like set me up, all right? And I'd worked 3 years on it. And I was able to look at it in a realistic way after being horribly depressed for a little bit, but only a short little bit, was the fact that, well, this was my film school. All right, and this was the best film school a person could possibly have. I actually went out and actually tried to make a feature film. All right, now I failed. It was guitar picks when I was finished. But when I looked at the footage, now all the stuff I did the first year, which was all the story stuff, all right, sucked. All right, but the stuff that I did like the last couple of months, that wasn't so bad. I actually think one of my strengths is my storytelling. Because I actually am committing to telling a story. More as a viewer, more the fact that I just like, I like it when somebody tells me a story and I actually really feel that that's becoming like a lost art. Most movies that you see now, I mean, that used to be the thing about America, was the fact that Hollywood, forget America, Hollywood used to, that's what we did better than anybody else in the world. We told a really good story. Europe was where you had character-based films or mood-based films, but America, we told a story. We're the worst at it now, as far as I'm concerned. We don't tell a story, we tell a situation. Most of the movies that you see nowadays, and I'm not a Hollywood basher, because enough good movies come out of the Hollywood system every year to justify its existence, but without any apologies. However, a good majority of movies that come out, all right, you pretty much know everything you're going to see in the movie by the first 10 or 20 minutes. Now, that's not a story. A story is something that constantly unfolds. I'm not talking about like this quick left turn or a quick right turn or a big surprise. I'm talking about it unfolds. It's not the fact that I'm like on this big crusade against linear storytelling, all right, but it's the thing is, it's not the only game in town.
I was brought up during the golden age, and that was the time when Broadway was hot. I mean, it was hot. There was a show in every theater. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. You have to be willing to do the work, hard work, relentless work, and you have to be ready. And I was ready. You just have to keep doing it.
That's right.
You have to have the passion for it. You've got to listen to those people that have been there and obey what they are saying, and taking the advice from these well-known people. How can you pass up this kind of advice and knowledge? You've got to be just soak it in. She challenged me. She channeled me into what I am today. Teacher. And you know what? Everybody's a teacher. And you listen to that teacher or that choreographer or that. You are listening separately from anybody else.
There was never any kind of a conscious effort when we were doing our show
saying, well, I'm going to change, but everyone does. We are all in a constant state of change, and if we continue to work, we are bound to change. And I noticed it more so when, I think it was the end of our 10th season on television, and we did an hour-and-a-half special of clips from the previous 10 years and so forth, and we were looking at them, deciding what to use and show the audience. And I saw an enormous change in the way we had grown, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way not to if you continue working. I started to gravitate more towards what I like to term three-dimensional comedy. That it was more character comedy and more fun to do, actually. I created those characters, and when they wrote them just as a sketch. I mean, we never knew that we were going to continue doing them as we did. When we started to rehearse that on Monday, just for kicks, we said, let's do it not for laughs, because there are no jokes written into it. And we did it as an acting experiment, and it was rather devastating. Then you play it a different way, and it becomes very fun. Just kind of searching for myself as an individual. Perhaps that has something to do with it.
We had just reopened our show 2 days prior, and that was when Broadway was just reopening and kind of coming off this 18-month stoppage. And I think at that moment, especially for everything that, you know, our culture went through, but specifically the theater community went through during that time that we were away, I just think when we all went back and got on stage, you know, it's always been very meaningful to me, but I think it just took on a whole new meaning about, you know, what is our job as performers to represent and strive for. And I think back to when I started theater, and I think anybody that's ever done theater, you know, at the very base level, you get into theater to kind of find your tribe and look for people that are similar to you. So I've just always thought it should be the most accepting, progressive, inclusive place. That's what theater should be. So I think that it's our job as theater makers, and when we're in a position to help people around us and affect change, we have to think about that first and foremost. That's what we all try to do all the time, but I think the people maybe putting on the shows don't always follow that line, and so that's why I think we need to make sure that they do.
Yeah, it's scary because you realize one wrong, you can be doing great, everyone go, hey, fantastic, you're brilliant, we'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner, then all of a sudden one bad film, excuse me, will you hold?
Yeah, I think I spoke about this on an earlier show, but I loathe that attitude in our business.
It's an attitude, I guess, to make or break people. I mean, the press, sometimes you ask about what are some of the things I get, sometimes the press they'll make you up to a certain point, then all of a sudden they'll start looking for flaws, anything wrong, you know. It's just up to you to maintain. It's hard. For me, it's the most valuable thing are the people that I knew before. I mean, the friends, the core of friends and people, they're very important.
Yeah.
Because they'll always be there. They know who I am. And they feel like you're a molecule. I mean, if you examine the way you are, I mean, there are people, the periphery people, the electrons, people out there, then there's some other people who get a little bit closer, some of the other particles. And there's a nucleus that only like 1 or 2 people know. Then there's the real core that I think only there's part of myself that no one really knows.